there was an aha moment that started the Immigrant Yarn Project. The genesis, or the real beginning, is that around the time of the Muslim ban, when people had turned out and they were kind of protesting at the airports, I was running down in the water near Crissy Field, and I thought, gosh, somebody should do an immigrant yarn bomb down here, because it would be such a powerful statement in this amazing location, in this incredible state full of immigrants. So yarn bomb is just that. It's just like, it's a term to describe yarn-based public graffiti. Very quickly, we kind of built a website and just started reaching out. And I started kind of knitting circles at retirement centers. There's a huge group of Japanese knitters over there, some of whom were interned in the camps. So we got those guys knitting squares and pieces and whatever they felt like knitting. I didn't want this just to be a lot of squares. With each column, we're trying to like compose a theme and have an idea about that we're trying to express. We get all of the pieces in, we sew it onto this kind of chicken wiry stuff and wrap it around a core. They kind of sit here and live for a little while, and we embellish them with bits and pieces, and ideas come to us. In a way, they sort of start taking on a life and personality of their own. And then as pieces come in, sometimes we add it to existing columns, or it's just this kind of like living organism that is always changing. And an integral part of the project is the list of names, and that is everybody who sends a piece in. They all sign our official book with their name and the country that they represent, country or countries. So that becomes a living and permanent part of the exhibit, is this wall. It will be a wall of names. That wall of names and the countries they represent, in my opinion, is as important as everything else, as you know, is the visual representation through yarn. I love that when you knit or crochet, it's a linear exercise. It's not a cut and paste exercise. So you begin at a point and you can't say like, oh, I just don't want this part. I've knit in bars, I've knit on airplanes, I knit in my kitchen, I've knit everywhere in the world, right? And I love the notion that the yarn picks up everything around you. So that's a beautiful thing too, that it's invisible, but it really lives in this project. In other words, when you walk around it and you think like, wow, every square inch of this entire project, of the hundreds of miles of yarn in this project, have been touched by human hands. This project is personal to me as well, because for starters, my mother is an immigrant. She showed up like undereducated, without a penny in her pocket. She was just a woman who was leaving a difficult situation. I feel like we have this notion now that unless you are Elon Musk, you don't deserve to be here. Some of the contributors to our project, I mean, we have a Secretary of State, we have Pulitzer Prize winning authors, we have heads of billion-dollar tech companies, but we also have like soccer coaches and housekeepers and grandmas. And they all represent different countries, different ways of life, different socioeconomic situations, different religions, different tastes in food, different sexuality. I mean, you name it, it is represented in this project. Without that variety, I don't know who we are. If you are sitting there thinking, yeah, but I don't knit, go to your grandma, your grandpa, go to someone in your family and they can represent. You can send in something that exists in your family. Maybe, you know, there's a mitten that you wore as a child that somebody made for you, and you can send that in and we will sew it into the project. Anyone can participate. You can go to immigrantYarnProject.org, and there is all of the information about who we are, about the project, and about how to participate.